It's a healthy start to a new day. It's a healthy start to a new day. It's a healthy start to a new day. It's a healthy start to a new day.
An update on the Dietary Guidelines for Americans has just been released. You may be familiar with this as formerly the Food Pyramid and today known as My Plate. Joining us today is registered dietitian Karen Bakies from the American Dairy Association Mideast to talk about what's new and how the recommendations influence our dairy consumption. Welcome to the program, Karen.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So, are there any major changes that consumers need to be aware of with these new guidelines?
I think one of the biggest changes they did is they have now 3 healthy eating plans. Really the focus is for us to eat nutrition-rich foods and beverages as opposed to focusing on what we shouldn't eat. So those 3 healthy plans that we should follow is either the U.S. Healthy Eating Plan, which has been around for a number of years, the vegetarian version, because we know a lot of people are vegetarians, and then what's been added this year is the Mediterranean version, and that's based on the research over the years in terms of looking at the Mediterranean diet.
How does this influence our dairy consumption? Do the servings stay the same?
Interestingly enough, they did with the healthier U.S. eating plan, they are the same. It's 3 servings when you're 9 and older. It's going to be a little bit less when you're ages 4 to 8. It's going to be 2.5 servings, and then 2 to 3, it's 2 servings. And that's the same that's true with the vegetarian eating plan as well. What changes is when it comes to the Mediterranean, which is new. The research for the Mediterranean diet has only been done on adults, so the recommendations are 2 servings per day. They also do identify that if you do follow that Mediterranean diet, you will not get the needed calcium and vitamin D because of that lower number of dairy servings. But all of them are going to encourage nutrient-rich foods and beverages.
Now, you mentioned the vegetarian eating pattern. What about people who are lactose intolerant or they don't like dairy products? What are their options to fulfill that requirement?
Well, that's a great question. When it comes to lactose, lactose is the naturally occurring sugar or carbohydrate that's in milk. And sometimes people have difficulties digesting it. And so what they can choose to do is, there's lactose-free milk in the grocery store. It is regular cow's milk, just the lactose has been removed, so it has the same nutritional content of vitamins and minerals. Also, we find that with cheese, such as the Swiss cheese and aged cheese that I have here, that's going to be usually well accepted because it has a lower lactose content. And then also yogurt with live active cultures are much easier to digest for individuals that may have some difficulty digesting that lactose. So there's a variety of different dairy foods for individuals to choose from and still get that package of vitamins and minerals in their diet.
You know, I was surprised when I was looking at the report that almond milk is not considered a dairy source or rice milk. Only soy milk was the substitute for someone who might be a vegan, I guess.
That's right, and actually what we find, there are many different beverages that are popping up in the dairy case, and they do not have the nutritional equivalency in terms of vitamin and mineral content as you get with cow's milk. There is only one identified, and that's a soy beverage that's been identified that it has the nutrient content that's similar, but overall it's recommended that you consume dairy instead of the alternatives just because of the natural nutrient package that it delivers.
Now, for people who might want some alternatives to milk, I think one of the most confusing things is for consumers is how do I know what is an equivalent? Like if I have you say 3 cups a day of milk, well, does yogurt count? How much cheese? Can you share with us how much cheese would be equal to a glass of milk?
Absolutely. I get that question asked quite often. This is an 8-ounce glass. When we talk about milk, it's going to be 8 ounces of milk. And often when it comes to yogurt that's in this container right here, it's already prepackaged in the store. Most of the yogurts are 6 ounces. And so usually we say 6 to 8 ounces. This is about 7 ounces right here. So somewhere in between that is going to give you that same nutritional equivalent. What varies though, and what's different is you look at this glass of milk and then you see these 3 pieces of cheese. Or if you want it prepackaged into a portion size, something like this. When you think about it, you take out all the fluid and you're taking the milk solids, and that's what cheese is. It's really a dense compact of all those milk solids and all of those vitamins and minerals. So the portion size is much smaller. So it's going to be about 1.5 ounces. So what I have here is a 12-ounce serving of cheese or block of cheese. So think of that you're going to get about 8 servings out of that cheese. Most time people might think it's like 3 or 4 servings, but it actually is 1.5 ounces, and it's going to be closer to that 8 to 9 servings in that package.
Is the calcium the same?
Absolutely, it is the same.
Really?
It's going to be the same amount of calcium. What varies though is I have cottage cheese over here. In Ohio, we actually are the second leading production of cottage cheese in the country here in Ohio. People are surprised to know that. But it's really a good source of protein. It's not a very good source of calcium. So quite often when we talk about those 3 servings, we talk about milk, yogurt, and cheese. Cottage cheese is great for the protein, but it may not have that calcium that you're looking for that you're going to find in the other 3 dairy products.
You know, when we talk about dairy products, you bring it up in conversations with friends, it's often an area of controversy. There are some misconceptions that people might have. They feel very strong about their dairy. What does the research show about consuming dairy each day?
Well,
for the health benefits?
The Dietary Guidelines really specifically identified in 2010 and again here in 2015 that there are 4 nutrients we underconsume, and they're calcium, vitamin D, potassium, and fiber. So if you look at calcium, vitamin D, and potassium, dairy is the richest source of all 3 of those in just one food item. Put it on some whole grain cereal in the morning and you've got actually all 4 nutrients of concern that we don't get enough of. So they really did identify we underconsume dairy, but the reason we need to consume it is because of those rich nutrients that we're not getting enough of.
And the calcium and potassium is so important. When I do nutrition counseling, everybody's always short on calcium and they're always short on potassium, and that can affect our blood pressure, our bone health, so it's really important to get those nutrients in.
Absolutely, and they also identify that eating those patterns and specifically having dairy included, you can lower blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, maybe reduce the incidence of type 2 diabetes. So again, a lot of people don't think of potassium in milk as a good source of that, but it really is, and it does add, in addition to any fruits and vegetables that you're eating along with it, for that potassium source.
And if you don't eat fruits and vegetables, it's really hard to get it in. It's one of those nutrients that is low for everybody, and you really got to follow the food plate in order to get that potassium in.
And what I find about dairy that I think is interesting is you can consume, or you can eat it or drink it just as it is, or you can use it as an ingredient. And it also pairs really well. You know, I pair it here with fruit. You can pair cheese with crackers, whole grain crackers. You can make milk. You can use oatmeal to make milk with, or you can do pudding. But it can be an ingredient or it can be a standalone. And so I think that's what makes it really easy to get dairy in your diet in terms of those 3 servings every day.
Well, you've just provided a wealth of information. How can viewers get more information about dairy if they want recipes and nutrition information? Where can we go for that in Ohio?
Sure, you can go to our website, which is www.drink-milk.com. We just redid our website, brand new in January, so great resource, has all kinds of information, all the way from farm, family to food.
Thank you so much, Karen.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it. And I want to let our audience know, if you would like to meet Karen and find out more about dairy, the Dairy Association is taking part in the Nutritious and Delicious Gala this year, being held at the Tangier Banquet Hall in Akron. This is a healthy dish competition. It's a lot of fun that local dietitians put together to promote National Nutrition Month. And for more information on that, you can go to www.eatrightakron.org, and we'll be right back with more Mind, Body, and Spirit.
It's a healthy start to a new day. It's a healthy start to a new day.